recording, Toga.
See, Jeannie, you haven't given her this thing yet. You gotta talk, you gotta jive, you gotta walk the walk, you gotta do the talk.
Well, you're the one that's talking the talk and playing the
I'm supposed to play.
Oh, I got your face real close up. Now I'll get your fingers on the keyboard.
Hi, how you doing? Pretty good, thanks. How are you going to do the musical thing? How are you going to break it up? Whenever you want, I'll start.
Yeah, a couple artworks come
How
in.
do
to
they
me.
look?
Pretty good. I put them on a machine. I've got to chase down a few of them and kind of came in some bizarre format. But
I charge the battery. Where's the battery? I couldn't find it. Where's the battery?
Where's the battery?
Yeah. It wasn't in the kitchen. That's why I charged it.
Yeah, it was the last time I seen it. Oh wait, no, I took it out, didn't I?
Yeah, but where did it go? Because I couldn't find it.
Go in here. I probably could have found it if I'd been there, but I put it somewhere. I told you I put it
Welcome to the Eugene Sola Retrospective. 40 years worth of work by this accomplished artist.
And this video will probably go out to people that were unable to see the show. So, oh, Beth is going to see this. And she doesn't remember you now. She'll have to remember you.
Bismarck?
Bismarck, North Dakota.
Beth Bismarck.
No, Beth Kelly. You remembered her, but as being one of the teachers here.
Oh.
She couldn't remember you, but now Beth Kelly, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But now she'll see a picture of you. So she'll remember. But I promised her I'd video the
Enjoyable
show.
classes. Hi, Beth.
So I'll start. Well, I don't know where to start. Does it matter where you start?
Let's start in the early years.
Early years, I mean. Let's see, one trouble with this camera is that, the viewfinder is so, I can never see it. I guess I'm right on it, on the sign. See, this viewfinder is so small that I can't really see it well. I always have that problem. Now I'll put it on pause. Now, in this exhibition, we decided to make it like the big museum exhibition retrospectives where they show photographs of the artist and have a little biography. So we have photograph and biography here. And this is the first room, which covers the 50s from 54. And this painting here was one that was considered for purchase, but later we'll see the one that the school purchased. This was my Harwich Street apartment, and over the chair is my famous fish curtain material. I found this material in, I think it was Eileen's basement. Mary made curtains out of this. And a woman heard me saying what nice material it was. And we had bought a couple yards of it. It was cheap. And I heard her buying something like 7 yards just because she heard someone saying how great it was. It was very nice material. It was like silk screen. This one is Claff's Woods, which was painted in Randolph. And actually, this was painted before we went to Europe. And while Mary's father was still alive, and he loved this painting because he spent his childhood, I guess, in Randolph, and I knew these woods well. He's been dead many years, but he would probably have been dismayed to find out they filled in this was a pond and it got dry in this time of year in the fall. They filled it all in and built housing project there. Well, I guess not a project type housing, but where they make them all alike. All right, this is one of the first paintings, let's zoom in, of Fort Hill in Boston. There's 3 of these paintings in the show, and I did many more than just 3 of this scene. The Fort Hill Tower is a shot tower where they dropped shot for the Revolutionary War. They would drop hot lead through a screen from the tower and it would turn into shot. And it looks like a lighthouse. And this painting is white and pastel. And I think it's about 50, mid-50s, I guess, that painting. All right, this is a Boston street scene. About 55. This 55 period was 54 where I was still in school, and there are some surprisingly quite a number of school paintings. 3 of them actually painted in the school studios, but the street scenes were painted in the streets of Boston, and I would gather crowds. Oh, there's it is near the north end. You can see the elevated trains, that green structure represents the elevated trains. Someone asked if that casino was, I was making a joke about a casino, but I think it's just a bar, or it could be a store. Well, there is a bar there because I see a Budweiser sign. And so it is near the north end, which is the Italian district of Boston. Mary used to have an apartment there. This is the school nude, kind of a model from a professional agency on in actual classes at the Boston Museum School. This is a painting of the Boston Haymarket from imagination, well, imagining or memory, I guess, a memory painting. The bottom portion of cobblestone streets are done in egg emulsion, and the rest of it is overpainted with oil paints. Boston street scene near the downtown area with the custom house in the background. Painting of the Grogan Avenue house in Solon, Quincy, Massachusetts, showing the dining room area. Done on masonry. Early 50s, 54, still in school. Painting of a steer skull in class with the imprimatur of raw sienna, sort of a spoiled sketch. Painting in Barnstable Harbor sailboat. Painting of the living room at Grogan Avenue. Painting of Situate Beach, Situate, Massachusetts, public beach. It's very hard to find a place to paint on the Massachusetts shore. There's so much private property. But this painting was done later. It's really should be in the other room with the 59 to the 60s, but it got in this room because of space, and was painted it with Bill Dunn from Museum School. He did a painting the same day, and had come to this spot, painted other paintings at this spot too. Favorite spot to paint. Painting of Huntington Avenue in Boston. Streetcar from John Hancock Building, Christian Science Church. Painting on masonry. There's some scratching technique in the painting. You get fine lines. Colors are dark in some of these earlier paintings. Painting showing the Blue Hills outside of Boston. Route 128, which There's a highway that goes around Boston. This room, and here's a photograph of myself and artist Bob Gaswa in Granada, Spain, in a gypsy cave. And this represents the period in Europe and following Europe, in Boston and Randolph too, briefly. Painting of the hotel room in Paris, Hotel des Bains. This painting called 4th of July was based on Nantasket Beach in Massachusetts. And it with the Hotel des Bains, a lot of the European paintings were in Boulder, Colorado with my parents. Painting of Fort Hill, and all these Fort Hill paintings were painted up on the hill, which Mission Hill. So Fort Hill is off in the distance from Mission Hill. Mission Hill has the Mission Hill Church, which was also painted a number of times, and it's a beautiful scene that you can see up there. Then they finally built a high-rise blocking the view of the Mission Hill Church, or Boston front, which included the Mission Hill Church. Through the scene of Boston, you could see. And I call that scene-aside, building that high-rise apartment. Right, this we have titled Study in Brown, and I titled it Study in Brown, but it's from a period in 1962, living in Huntington Avenue apartment, 770 Huntington Avenue, and it's just when I was 30 years old, and turning 30, I wanted to do these big, impressive paintings, so I did this one and a number of others. These are the ones that they were done on linen canvas, and many have been water damage. This has a little bit of damage in the corner, and we'll look at one, if we pan slowly, go by the Paris painting, which we'll look at later, but the tie-in would be this large crucifix, which is sort of an anti-war crucifix. And this was done in that same year, and many other large paintings on linen canvas. Unfortunately, one is somewhat damaged. Those boards in the frame are covering up some of the damage. Unfortunately, that is the case. But it's still, what's left is still a pretty impressive design. Right, this is another painting from Paris, painted in the Paris studio, the American Center in Paris. And this painting is of the Luxembourg Gardens in Paris, from sketches. The Paris studio paintings were done on the wall without any stretcher sticks. The canvases were nailed to the wall, and then they were restretched. I carried them around in a roll in 1958 when I was in Europe. Now, Mary was still with me there. She left when her father died from Spain. But I spent 13 months in my first European scholarship trip. All right, this is Boston rooftops from the Shepherd Avenue apartment. This one is very impasto. All right, this one is a still life done in Randolph in '59 after returning to Europe. It has a Jason Berger print in it of St. George killing a dragon, which you can see the bottom of the print. And that wicker chair has seen its demise. It completely fell apart, came apart, and I burned it last year, and finally, what was left of it. Oh, that tablecloth might still be around. It would be in bad shape, but that's still around. Plants have all died. We brought them, and you probably saw them. But then when the house froze over, heater went off, they all died. Painting of Mary that has not been seen because it's been in Boulder, with a photograph of Mary in the Howard Street apartment. But the painting was actually painted in Huntington Avenue. Mention that Neil Chasman purchased this painting, and I'll have to ship it to him at the end of the show. Third painting of Fort Hill in Boston, probably the best one. There are probably 2 or 3 others of the same scene. Photograph of Mary and I in the Paris studio, 1958. Painting of Randolph in the early spring, 1959, upon returning to Europe. And this is the painting that WRU purchased just a minute ago. I'll pan around the room to give it an installation feeling. The new gallery. The gallery is, of course, the building that Neil started moves to get for the art department, and it finally under Karuna, I think it was Karuna, it actually happened. So everyone gave Karuna all the credit and forgot to mention that it was Neil who started the ball rolling and worked very hard to get this gallery. These are the downstairs rooms. This is out in the hallway.
The store while I go get him. Let me give Jim a call.
Well, that's Randolph railroad tracks. Maybe I can get one. They have these steps closed off because they're repairing, but this is a better view of this painting. Railroad tracks in Randolph, painted during when all those Randolph paintings were painted. 59. Upon returning from Europe, we lived with Mary's mother for about 4 months before moving to the apartment in 778 Huntington Avenue. And with one of the watercolors done early, 56. And there's not much room to get back from this painting. This is still left at home in the kitchen of the new house. Painting of Gloucester, houses in Gloucester, Massachusetts. All right, this is another watercolor from that same period as the other one. Pen and ink and wash, I guess you'd call it. Okay, this is in the hallway of the gallery again, and a painting of Sun Porch in Randolph.
There might be some residue from the wax.
All right, now we're going upstairs. I'll give a feel of the steps. Moving upstairs. And there are works along the stairwells. This one, this was around. I had this one around. There was no model. Bill Dunn asked, I made it up. I was disappointed, I think. This one was done in Paris, of the Cafe Select, from sketches in this Paris studio. This one, called Creation, is one of the few acrylics, and it was during the spray painting period, which is not represented here. There's no spraying on this, but this is I underpainted for the spray paintings, and I like this one the way it was, so I turned it into a painting without any spraying. But I use a lot of flowing water effects. And it looked sort of cosmic, so I call it creation. Toga's very much enamored to it, wants to own it. He keeps saying, that's my painting. Well, this one's kind of hard to, it's dark painting, it's hard to see in the hallway maybe. It was, my father wanted the painting a couple of years before he died, like 91, knowing that he was going to die. He wanted the painting. There were paintings done by me of his father and by Mary of his mother. And he wanted my mother to pose, but she refused. I don't know. If I really pushed her, maybe she would, but she isn't anxious to. This is a Paris street scene, which I can't get back far enough away unless I get on the steps to get the whole thing so I can pan it back and forth, up and down. This is the main gallery, which unfortunately is set up for a department meeting. So the space is broken up by these chairs in a circle for the department meeting. But this gallery has a nice space, and to keep it open, you get really nice effects where you can see the paintings well, rather than to put partitions or anything. So I will pan this gallery, despite this department meeting set up here. And you can see the late period here, paintings from Australia and Macomb period. And I'll go through them individually, but I want to pan. The video is not going right now. This is Neil painting done in 79 when we had a studio briefly. It was a grad student studio. Three of us, Don Hetzel, Neil, and I, took the studio for the summer. And I did lots of paintings. Neil did one. Pretty interesting painting. From the same studio, the artist is Shakespeare. Same period of the studio. This is the artist is Angry Young Man. Because the background window scene looks a little like an English factory town, especially with the dartboard to suggest something English. It's really the Macomb Police Station, but it gave me the idea for the title. And from that same studio, the studio itself, we had awarded the plants for these students that were letting us sublet it from them. So I decided to paint these plants. All right, this nude was painted from a drawing. We hired a nude model, and we all drew her, and then I did a painting from one of the sketches. This painting is based upon a song called A Song for Toga, only the painting was titled from a line in the song, A Long Way from the Depot. A long way from the depot, no one waiting for the train, what happened to all the people where their lives lived today. We did this song last night. Toga played it. We stayed up till 3 a.m. Talking about music and art, and we did a little run through of some of the songs. He played a beautiful version of Dark Side of the Child, which is the last big painting I did, which we'll see. Oh, I should look at the photograph in a little biography blurb explaining the Australian period and the Macomb period. And that's me in the photographs sketching wild roses in Australia. The original photograph is in color. These are copies. Little collages that I did in my office and elsewhere. Another one of the collages. Sketch for Toga conducting a saxophone concerto in Brisbane, which has, for the sake of brevity, a title has just called Toga Conducting. Largest painting in the show, Toga conducting a saxophone concerto in Brisbane. Toga conducting. Toga was never in Brisbane. He never wrote a saxophone concerto. although we played things that sounded like saxophone concertos, chair T. This has me playing chess and me playing saxophone, Neil with the so-called muses. Oh, I never thought of this, but with these nudes, you know, the nude women in some of the paintings, with all the groups of people. One of the students says, Gene must have had, or Mr. Solon, I don't know, probably if it's a student, must have had some wild parties, you know. Well, maybe they were fantasy parties, but... All right, from the period of the studio that we had just prior to going to Brisbane, 79 was the studio, 81 was Brisbane, the artist as prophet. Now this painting, I commented that this painting and some of the others in the studio show a real interest in lighting effects, and it was because of the light in the studio. The Dark Side of the Child, the painting, the last big painting that I did in my office in Garwood. Showing Toga and I and John playing, Neil in the background, the nude as he runs, the child, the dark side, and then some shady characters that I know from the bar. A picture of me probably in 68, right after coming to Western, doing an artisan residency at Robert Morris Junior College. The painting was purchased as part of the artisan residency, and it's changed. Robert Morris has changed hands twice. I wonder if the painting is still in the same place. Life at the Slaughtatorium. Toga with the pizza, Ted playing guitar, me with a big chess piece, Toga's first wife holding a catfish, Liz holding a Bible or a religious book, Giotto the cat with a crazy look, and a pizza, of course. Toga holding a whiskey, of course. One of the few Brisbane landscapes left. He sold the best ones. Red Roof. This was the one that was, the reproduction of was put into art form for the New York show. My small little flat in Brisbane, I had half the house. The landlady and her family had the other half. That's the front yard. There's a picnic table and a tree with an elk horn. A lot of leaves and grass in the front yard. You know, in among those leaves were little lizards, tiny little lizards called skinks. One day on the road, I saw a great big dragon lizard, huge. You know, it was momentarily just standing in the middle of the road. Painting known as the Great Macomb painting because of the size. I guess Neil named it the Great Macomb painting. And it's a bar in Macomb with all sorts of symbols of students, me playing pinball, Neil peering from behind the pinball, and all these pictures of Neil were done from imagination, from memory, because I drew him so many times. And the farmer in his bib overalls, the country rock players, the punk, at the time there was punk, in the dark clothing, and the girls in their WIU, one of them WIU with the pitcher of beer, and the pool players. And up in the left-hand corner is the Purina Chow place, which was the old ice house. And this was done, don't forget, way before there was any thought of ever destroying the Pace Hotel. But the Pace Bar owners were paid money, probably handsomely, for the destruction of their hotel. And they moved their bar over to the old ice house. So this was prophetic. So John would like to sell it to the Pace, this painting. Or the farm scene around Colchester, the red barn. A sketch for the Slothman. There were 5 sketches for the Slothman in the Ray Hughes show in Australia. Most of them are either in New York or have been sold. So there's only one with the Sloth Man this time. The Sloth Man, based on the Brockton State Fair in Massachusetts, Brockton, Massachusetts. And the side shows that were there, what they used to call the freak shows, Sloth Man, Snake Woman, someone with 3 eyes and 2 noses. Instead of the Snake Woman, there was a little tub outside, a wooden tub-shaped enclosure with a 10-year-old boy and a bunch of boa constrictors and other harmless snakes. Never saw the Snake Woman. The artist is Angry Young Man. The last remaining Brisbane landscapes up on one of the terraces. Brisbane is broken up into terraces, very hilly. This was a very beautiful one. And I painted a number of scenes on the terrace. From the Eagle Show with Preston Jackson in '77. It was the only thing I ever did with a grant from the university or from around here. And it was supposed to, we're trying to get a bicentennial grant. We ended up getting a small university grant. Another farm scene, I painted this with students in 1978. After returning from sabbatical. In the summer, Neil thought I should teach in the summer. I'd probably need money. I didn't argue with him. It was very pleasant, too. From the Eagle Show, a scene of Keokuk with an eagle flying by. It was from a photograph that I took with a long-range camera in the dead of winter. Bitter cold. Mississippi looked like the Antarctica at that time. Preston did sculpture for the show. A group of 4 of the computer works. The top one is plotter computer works. The bottom 2, top 2, the bottom 2 are PC prints. The sort of things I've been animating for my video multimedia thing. All right, here we have, again, the artist is Shakespeare, named by Neil. A couple of collages. In a little corner of this big room. There's a blinking of the light here indicating that my battery is running towards its end, but I've more or less finished all the show. A collage that John Graham likes because of its humorous whimsy quality. And Neil painting his painting again. That's where I started out.